Hello everyone, and welcome back to Thief Gold. Last time we finished the Bonehold mission, we got the Fabled Horn of Quintus, the Mystic Soul and Mystic's Heart, and a crap ton of loot from just robbing the dead, basically. As immoral as that sounds. And yeah, now it's time to dispose of the horn and do the next mission.
I had some money to spare after disposing of the horn, so it seemed time to invest in some new tools. Farkas is one of the few merchants willing to risk selling to an independent like me, and his prices are steep. But the other choice is to let one of the so-called city wardens give me orders, and take a cut of my profits. They've been after me for years to join one of their stables, but I'm not interested. Maybe they'll get the idea and give up. More likely, they'll just ramp up the threats. Nothing I can't handle if I'm careful. And lucky. And my luck seems to have finally turned for the better.
Alright, Assassins. Very simple mission at first glance. Now that we've got the finest in lockpicks, we can go after more challenging and lucrative targets. How about the local hammer temple? Get at least 1,000 loot? Probably not a very good idea to go straight for the hammers, but okay. And the true professional doesn't leave a mess, don't kill anyone, which does mean that we're gonna have to deal with human enemies. Now, if the name doesn't give it away already, yeah, this will change, obviously, because the mission is called Assassins. But yeah. And of course, yeah, there's almost no difference between the difficulties, so let's go. Alright, and here we get introduced to a new mechanic, lockpicking. So not all doors can be lockpicked, but some can. But there is we also receive instructions, so I'm gonna read this once we start. Let me actually get some useful stuff first, though. Because this is going to be a mission raiding, or a mansion raiding, apologies, mansion raiding mission. We're gonna need a crap ton of moss and water arrows. And might as well get some healing potions, you never know what's gonna happen. I don't really need the broadheads or fire arrows, so that's fine. But yeah, there's the goals again. And the map is actually a map of the city, or at least the old quarter of the city. Home turf is all the way down here. We start here in Newmarket. And yeah, there's some other areas here. This map will become a lot more relevant once we start the mission. Speaking of which, let's do it.
That shot was meant for me.
Yes, I'm sure it was Garrett in the window. He's dead. Let's head back now.
These creeps are gonna lead me right back to whoever sent them to kill me, but only if I can tail them without them noticing me.
Yep, so as the name implies, assassins try to take us out, so we gotta follow them now. What I really like about the intro of this mission, other than the music, is actually it really shows Garrett's personality. And how he wants to be like an individual thief. He's not a team player at all, which I find, honestly, somewhat relatable. I mean, I'm not a thief, but yeah, I also prefer solo work, personally. Now, the way this mission works is quite interesting. So these guys actually take different paths every playthrough. They have a randomized set of pathways that they can take through the city. So it's not always going to be the same. In fact, they're already taking a much different path than they normally take. And I'm not sure how many path presets they have in total, but there's at least 3, from what I recall. I'm not even sure if I've seen this one, actually. Seems very different from normally. But overall, it's very easy to follow these guys. As long as you stick to the shadows, and sometimes they go through areas like this. That's why it's very important to have moss arrows on you. Because they will actually hear if you step on the...
Someone's following us.
Yep, just like that. Oh, and as you can see, our objectives also updated. So this objective is no longer accessible to us. We now have to trail the thugs who tried to assassinate us without being detected. And the objectives will change even more once they reach their destination, obviously. I don't think they stopped earlier. Interesting. Yeah, from time to time they do stop to look around, so that's why you're better off keeping your distance and staying in the shadows. Okay, let's try this again. Hopefully this goes better this time.
Someone behind us.
Did you?
Oh, come on, man! There's literally moss there. What the hell? Okay, this is gonna have to be good enough. And if you linger too much, in standard video game fashion, if you linger too much, they'll just... Oh. You'll basically lose track of them and fail the mission. So you mustn't linger too much, basically. You have to stay relatively close to them, but also keep your distance in case they spot you when they turn around. I think this might be one of the longer routes. And there are other random NPCs. You don't have to worry about those because they don't really have anything to pickpocket. And they won't even get alerted by you if they spot you. So you don't really have to worry about the other NPCs, but I guess sometimes they could get in your way, like in your path, literally. But otherwise, they're mostly chill. Now this mission, what makes it interesting as well is that it's one of the few missions, at least in Thief 1, that really shows you a glimpse of the city as a whole. There's only like a couple of missions that have this. And I would say that this is probably the only one where you actually not really explore the city per se. Oh crap, not in a shadow. Oh, I guess it doesn't matter. I guess that guy's freaking blind. But yeah, as I was saying, this is probably the only mission where you get such a extensive look at the city. Like, you don't get to explore it too much. Unless you deliberately, like, leave your objectives behind after these guys reach their destination. You could do that, but there isn't really much to find out here. Which is honestly good. That is, I would say, good design. Since if there was stuff to find out here, then that would sort of nullify the actual mansion that you're supposed to be raiding. Because why would you go for the mansion when you can just get a bunch of loot from the city instead? And it would also be very distracting and confusing as well, and annoying. Of course, trailing missions are in and of themselves also annoying, but it is what it is. There is a mission in Thief 2 that also involves trailing people through the city, but there's also a lot of missions in that game that literally have you exploring the city. It's honestly really cool. And the city is much more well designed than this because it's an actual proper mission and not just set dressing essentially for the real mission. Because the real mission will take place in a mansion. Spoiler alert, these guys will lead us to a mansion of one of those so-called city wardens who tried to assassinate us. And if this was any other game, Garrett would be like, oh, I gotta get revenge on this guy, I gotta kill him. But no, Garrett is actually, he doesn't care about violence or murder, all he cares about is money. So our goal will be to actually rob the patron blind rather than killing him. Of course, if you're playing on normal and hard, you can kill him if you want to, but in the canon of the game, you don't kill him. Because he will become relevant in...
These are Ramirez's boys. think it's time I dealt with Mr. Ramirez once and for all.
Yep, Mr. Ramirez. So Mr. Ramirez here will actually become relevant in future missions as well in the canon. So it doesn't, even though you can kill him on lower difficulties, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to do so.
Jorik tells me the Hammers are gonna close down Craig's Bluff.
Yeah, he's taffing you. Where are they gonna put the poor saps they grab?
Dunno. Toss them into a well or something. Anyhow, they just don't have enough guys no more.
Kinda sad. Used to be the power. Now they're just a bunch of guys wishing for the old days.
A bit more background information. So what's interesting is that the Hammerites, even though they were displayed as this, you know, scary force when we were at their prison,
Noise.
like nothing to be trifled with, our arch nemesis in a way, apparently they're losing power as of late, so that will become relevant later on in the future, in the game's story. For now, like the story doesn't really kick off until mission 6, mission 5 if you're playing the original game and not the Gold Edition. And this is mission 4, so we still have a couple more missions to go before the story starts kicking off. And the story is, I wouldn't say it's amazing. I would say the story in Thief 2 is a lot better, but it's still pretty alright, especially for its time, for 98. Like, you gotta keep in mind that in 98, besides Half-Life, which came out shortly before this, there wasn't really anything quite like this. All you had was stuff like Doom and Quake, with basically just the story written on a sheet of paper just for the sake of giving you an excuse to shoot demons or whatever. Of course, this game was in development around the same time as Half-Life, so Half-Life, even though it technically is the first because it came out before this, at least on PC, it's not like the first developer team or developer studio to get the idea for having the story be told in the game itself. But this game isn't really remembered for its story per se. It's more so remembered for its atmosphere, its setting, and of course the gameplay. This was one of a kind at its time. A first-person stealth game. Of course, you had other stealth games like Metal Gear Solid, but those were not only third-person, but they were also tactical espionage action. Literally, like it was half stealth, half action. This has pretty much no action in it. It is pure stealth. And honestly, wish that there were more games like this. I'm sure there's plenty of indie titles that try to imitate this.
Someone move!
I obviously, for a fact, know that there's the closest thing to Thief nowadays is the Dark mod, which I might actually cover on this channel in the future. Definitely better than Thief 4, but still, like, I wish a bigger studio would actually make something like this. I guess the closest thing is Dishonored. A lot of people like to compare Dishonored with this, but the thing with Dishonored is that... There's a conversation here.
Monster babysitting.
What? Why me?
The boss thinks his nasties don't get enough affection. You'll be down there rubbing their tummies.
I'll quit first. See if I don't.
So Lord Ramirez has Burricks as pets, as weird as that sounds. Yeah, he's a weird guy. We can actually, the cool thing is that we actually get to see these in the basement, and we have to go there because that's where our objective is. Speaking of objectives, here we go. Here's our actual objectives for this mission. So we trapped the thugs. It's time to show Ramirez who the real criminal mastermind is. Break into his mansion and take what he values most, his wealth. The purse from his belt should make the point. So yeah, that should definitely make the point. We need to loot the mansion for additional valuables and need at least 2,000, just like last mission. We need to locate his prized silver fire poker. It's worth quite a bit. So that's the special loot in this mission. And then, of course, get out of the mansion and don't kill anyone, as always. But yeah, as I was saying, Dishonored is probably the closest thing to this. A lot of people say that that game is a sort of a spiritual successor to Thief. But my issue with that is, yeah, you can go with the stealthy approach and not kill anyone, but you have, like, most people don't even do that because they either don't have the patience, or it's just a lot more fun to, you know, go in guns blazing. The game literally makes you feel like a god. So it makes it so that it makes it feel like you're hiding from the enemies for the enemy's sake and not for your own sake. Whereas here, Garrett is literally just a regular old guy with very good night vision and hearing. He doesn't have any superpowers, and he's honestly a pretty shoddy swordsman as well. So the guards actually feel threatening, especially in the later missions. Like the guards in this mission, I don't know if you've noticed, but they are a little bit faster than the ones in Bafford's Manor. And in future missions, in future manors, they're gonna be even faster, so yeah. So that's what I mean, like there needs to be more games like Thief, in my opinion. Like I never really liked stealth games, but Thief is what honestly got me into them. Thief and Metal Gear Solid, but especially Thief. Okay, oh, here's the lockpick manual that I forgot about. Lockpick instruction manual. To use a lockpick, use and hold it on a locked door for a few seconds. The handle of the door will move slowly to the open position, and you'll hear a continuous clicking until the handle turns and the door pops open. If you hear only a single short click, try using the other lockpick. If the handle jiggles but ends up only moving part of the way, you need to switch lockpicks and continue picking the door. You may need to switch lockpicks more than once, that is very important. If neither lockpick works, it means that the lock cannot be picked and it's time to go find the key. Note that you must be quite close to a door to pick it, closer than you need to be in order to open it normally. Now this is a very weird note, because yeah, it's a good tutorial for how lockpicking works, but it doesn't really, like, it's immersion breaking because it's clearly written by the developers for the player. It's not like part of the world, if that makes sense. So I don't know how to feel about this lockpicking instruction. And here's the papyrus we just picked up. Mina, dear, it's not as bad as it seems. The sir isn't so harsh if you learn his habits. When he's upstairs like the library, cosset him with tea and cakes and chat of the household doings. When he's in the cellar with his gold, though, don't dare bother him lest he rings for you, and then hop to it like the tricksters on your tail. Lissy. So this is obviously a hint that we can find our guy in the basement. But also it mentions the trickster, which is very interesting because if you recall, in the second mission, I mentioned that the Hemorrhoids worship a deity, a god, called the Master Builder. Well, there is a counter-god to this, that the Pagans, the other faction in the city, who aren't really mentioned in this game that much. They're a lot more relevant in the second and third game, ironically enough, even though this game is all about their god. Like, it's not really implied that they're even a thing in this game. But the trickster is basically the god of the pagans, and he's the exact opposite of the master builder. Whereas the master builder is all about construction and progress and order and law, then the trickster is the exact opposite. He's about anarchy and chaos and destruction and stuff like that. So that's what the trickster is. He's basically legend, but, well, we'll see if he really is a legend.
That'd teach him. Not to mention two guys with swords not getting paid no more.
There's a conversation that's supposed to play there, and it kind of did, but it's a little bit glitched, it seems. And this conversation also didn't play. What the hell is going on?
You know, the barricades.
The closed areas?
I heard the buildings were evil spirit stone. They gobbled up who lived there.
What I heard, there's a different moon. One that takes all the light.
Won't catch me down that way.
Not me, neither.
Okay, that did play, but I really had to get rid of that guy. So here's a fact. If you're 100%ing this mission, there is a very annoying pickpocket in the other room. It's only a key, it's not loot. But if you're getting all the pickpockets, you have to get it. And it's super annoying to get, but it is doable. There's basically one guard, and the two assassins that actually try to assassinate you are in that room there. So you have to pickpocket I don't think it's one of them. I think it's the guard that you have to pickpocket. And the room is very well lit, so there is a very specific angle at which you can pickpocket him, but I'm not gonna show it here since I'm not going for 100%. But just so you know, it's also a very easy pickpocket to miss. And here you can hear the bell actually ringing. So the guy who really wants his food. Now we're not gonna take care of him just yet, because once we do, all hell will break loose. So instead what I'm gonna do is what I always do, and that is loot the rest of the mansion and go to the basement last. So I'm gonna go for the first floor and then the second floor and then the basement. And here we have a note. Lazy slobs. If I visit my babies again and find that they have not been fed properly, I shall take the horsewhip to the lot of you. The poor dears must be given live food. Their delicate stomachs cannot abide the smell of carrion. I'm in no mood to hear of the shortages when my babies are starving. Wow, he really likes his burek, doesn't he? Or his bureks, I mean. He has 2 of them, not just 1. I don't know if they're a female and a male, and if they can breed or not, but yeah. Let's see. We have 2 keys, the courtyard key and the basement key. Yeah, this way leads to the courtyard again, which is this area. I will demonstrate the lockpicks later. There are gonna be plenty of opportunities to do so. There is some loot down here, I believe. The first floor. Although there is no loot in that room with the 2 guards. It's a very well lit room with 2 guards. Don't go in there. There's nothing there for you. Instead, what we're gonna do is... Is there anything here? Nope. Instead, what we're gonna do is lockpick this door, because I'm pretty sure... Yeah, neither of the keys work. So here's how lockpicking works. It's honestly very simple. As the note said, select one lockpick, see if it works. If it does, let it do its thing until it clicks, and now we have to change the lockpick to the other one. And boom. Simple as that. Now, the third game actually has my favorite lockpicking mechanic, and I am gonna actually play it on the channel in the future, and I'll show you what that is, obviously, once we get there. But for the time being, this is what we have. Okay, so here I like to douse these torches, because there's gonna be a few guards coming out of that room shortly. There's a piece of loot there, and another piece of loot over here. 2 of them, in fact. Yeah, this conversation, for some reason, is kind of annoying to
Quince and
trigger.
Jacko are on watch tonight.
Oh,
The
there we go.
boss sent them on a special errand. Some fellow he wants dead. A thief. Name of Garrett.
I've heard of him. Garrett. No one to be trifled with. That's what I heard.
Not anymore if he's had a visit from those 2.
No one to be trifled with, indeed. If only they knew that I'm already robbing them blind as they speak.
Something move there.
So there's 2 guards that leave this area. I usually like to take care of both of them because they do patrol this lower floor. So again, the more guards you take out, the easier it will be for you. Moving forward. And in fact, I believe this should be an empty dark room. So I'm gonna dump both of their bodies in here. And I'm pretty sure that's everything on the first floor. There are some more doors out there that you can see, but most of those just lead around in a circle or lead to the courtyard again. And there's a lot of guards in the courtyard, and there's absolutely nothing there. I don't think there's even any items out there, but I can't really be sure because I've never really explored that, because I know that there's no loot. So I never had the reason to go there. But over here we do have some loot. Boys, while I appreciate your enthusiasm, I must point out that breaking legs is really rather inefficient. If we wish our clients to be able to pursue their rather active lives in order to immediately repay their debts, I encourage your initiative in this area. Perhaps you might take a lesson from the gardener and his hedge clippers, who trims off one branch while leaving the rest to grow. And most of our clients do start with fingers to spare. Now that is really messed up if you think about it. Okay, there is a ladder here which leads to a quote-unquote secret passage, which can take us to the second floor. Yeah, and it leads to the library. However, I'm not gonna use this. I'm gonna go the proper way instead. And apparently this doesn't close. That's annoying. Well, you know what? Screw it. Let's use this instead. There's no one in the library, so we can just walk freely on here. This leads to a balcony, so no need to go there.
Enjoy it while it lasts, friend. His fatness will be back soon to make our lives miserable again.
Where is he then? I haven't seen him tonight.
Down in the cellar again, counting his loot. I hope he stays down there all night.
As you might expect, the servants are not very fond of their master.
Oops. I guess it was nothing.
The second floor actually has a lot of loot. Unsurprisingly. So let's case the place, and then we'll get our main objective. Okay, this room has a lot of goodies for us. So getting 2000 loot is really not a challenge at all in this mission. I would say it's more of a challenge in the previous one. Especially if you don't take your time to explore. But you kind of have to if you play on expert anyway. Alright, I think this leads to a staircase leading downstairs. Yep. Don't want to be there yet. We still have more to explore here. In fact, there is a second story in the library here, which does have some loot as well, and also some notes. Reading material. Master Ramirez, I beg your attention. While, as you say, there is most certainly breach in the Drakebound pit, my subordinates inform me that this is due to the encroach of hammer patrols among the patrons, and that my immediate Drakebound comptroller, Ginny, has been unable to deal with the problem. Should this qualify as full breach, I must regretfully insist that the breach is on Ginny's part and not mine. I am, of course, happy to furnish all ledgers for verification. Lord Baffert. So, if you somehow missed that quote-unquote secret room in the basement in Lord Baffert's mission, this doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to you. I mean, I guess it does. You just are missing a bit of context here. But if you recall from the first mission, yeah, Drakebound has had problems due to the hemorrhoids. And yeah, here is Lord Baffert just trying to save his skin, basically, and putting the blame on Ginny instead of himself. Which, I mean, I guess fair enough. Like, it's technically not his fault, but still. Kind of scummy, you know, rich people and all that. But it does go to show, that this entire, like, nobility in the city is sort of connected, and they're all, like, doing shady stuff. It's really, really cool how the developers do this sort of world building through simple notes, no less. Master Vrind, recall our previous conversation about untapped sources? Can you find any precedent on going into the walled section of the old quarter? There's all that crap about walking evil, but you know how the hammers are. 10 to 1 gets there's all sorts of property, no known heir, free for picking without even having to pay guild for lawful overlook. Anyhow, no rush on this one. Better to look into it on the quiet rather than round up the hammers or let Raputo or Webster hear about it. Ramirez. This is also a bit of foreshadowing for a future mission. When you first play this game and you read this, you're gonna be like, huh, interesting. But on subsequent playthroughs, this is literally foreshadowing, because we are gonna find ourselves in the old quarter eventually, and it is incredibly haunted. But we'll get there once we get there. And over here we have to pick this lock, because there's some loot in here. Now, I don't know if I'm crazy or what, but I swear I remember there being 2 chests side by side in this corner here. One with the loot piece and another with some sort of an item. But it's in neither the original game nor in Thief Gold, so I'm not sure if I'm maybe misremembering with a similar area in Thief 2 or what, but it's very interesting, very bizarre. I'm probably just going crazy. Anyway, there is another set of rooms over here. There's also like a central area here that overlooks the inner courtyard, which is neat. Yeah, the architecture, like, the level design is really nice for most of these levels. Keyword being most. Some of the last missions are honestly pretty crappy, but this is not one of them, obviously. It's a very good mission in my opinion. Okay, so each of these guest rooms has a bit of loot. We gotta pick the locks. Because I'm pretty sure there's no key that can actually open these doors. Which is, again, good game design because the developers are basically forcing you to use your newly acquired lockpicks and get used to it. Lord Ramirez, the reinforced walls and steel door have been duly installed about your counting room, but I must warn you that we cannot guarantee them against Burrick tunneling. If you do not move the creatures out of the basement into a more distant area, we cannot be held responsible for the potential damages. Tell Camric and Sons. I mean, considering how he treats his own... I was about to say slaves. His own servants. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll take it out on you guys. Anyway, this is the master bedroom, and it has the most loot out of any room in the entire mission, as you might expect. There's a very difficult to spot ring. Yeah, right here. You can barely see it. It's very easy to miss this ring. And it's worth 100 too. It's not even that cheap. There's a key there. I think that's the basement key again. Do not press this button. That is the alarm. I actually made that mistake in my very first playthrough. And it, yeah, wasn't very fun. Oh, crap. Okay. Another papyrus here. Let's see what it says. Yeah, select it. There we go. Commissioner Denovan, I note with displeasure that, again, one of my tough boys has been taken to Crackscleft. May I remind you of the substantial donations I make to your office, such that I may pursue business unhindered by idle scrutiny? May I remind you as well of your predecessor's unfortunate end? The rivers are so treacherous this time of year. I trust that you will attend to this, and if the hammers are too difficult for your policemen, I trust as well that you will let me know. Ramirez. So the corruption runs so deep that even the police are corrupt, and they're in on it. I guess real life really does imitate art, doesn't it? This room is... I think it's supposed to be a closet, but it's a very weird room. Very liminal. It's just an empty chamber. There is actually stuff in the fireplace. Because if you recall, there's the fire poker, but there is no fire poker around the fireplace. What you have to do is actually go inside, flick this lever. There's also a diamond there. And there it is. And this fire poker also counts towards your total loot goal. It's not a separate item. In fact, I don't know why the scepter in the first mission is a separate item, because most of the special loot is still loot. Freaking physics. Can I fit here? Jeez. Yeah, but you gotta lose some weight, man. Okay, and that's all the loot up here, so we're finally ready to go to the basement and get our main prize, so to speak. Now, there's many ways to actually access the basement. You can access it from the kitchen, you can access it from here, and from other doorways as well. And it's a very large basement, honestly. But there's nothing in the basement besides the very bottom floor where Ramirez is. So you're just wasting your time if you're trying to, like, look into all these little chambers and rooms and alcoves and such. Okay, that is the way to Ramirez's room, but I want to hide the body that I completely forgot about. Of this one servant. Like, nobody actually comes down here besides this one servant. But still, again, immersion and all that. We usually hide him in one of these darkened rooms. And let's go back and go down to deal with Ramirez. I'm already turned around here. Yep, there we go. And this door is locked, but you can unlock it either by lockpicking it or using the basement key, which you can get from several guards, I believe, and most importantly, that servant. If you recall, we actually pickpocketed him. Okay, now Ramirez is actually in this room here. Let's wait for him to turn around. He's actually holding a mace, which is a weapon that you I'm pretty sure you don't see this weapon at all.
It may be time for me to move along now. Don't want to wear out my welcome.
Which, as I was saying, I'm pretty sure you actually don't see this mace weapon anywhere else in the entire game, which is very interesting. Would it be bright? Stone market cut purse. Skimping on Garrett for the 5th time. Not worth the trouble. Public bounty of 200. Garrett. South Quarter independent thief. Denied cut 3 times. Sent Quince and Jaco to shorten him. Overlord's fancy. Gambling den. Check with Raputo. Is it his? Either way, someone's not talking to someone they should. So, the Overlord's fancy is actually relevant here because that's gonna be the next mission. But I will talk more about the next mission in tomorrow's stream. Okay, we picked up this key here. Find it, there we go. Which unlocks both of these chests. Now, if it wasn't for this extra loot, normally I wouldn't knock this guy out because this actually makes the game harder. You see why once we get up to the surface. This is again the alarm, do not ring this. However, I'm pretty sure it's safe to ring this. And if we actually go around here, there's not really any loot for us here, but there is the Bureks. I think Garrett is supposed to comment on these guys and be like, oh, what sort of madman would have these things as pets? But I don't know why he doesn't say that to me. For me. But yeah, you can actually see the Bureks, which is pretty cool. You can even kill them, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not a monster. I only kill wild Bureks. Alright, and yeah. That's basically everything, so let's get out of here. Doesn't matter from where. So we'll have to do... I don't know why the courtyard key unlocks that door instead of the basement key. Probably a typo that the developers did. Who knows? Is this gonna lead me to the courtyard? Yep. Cool. Oh crap. There's a lot of guards and sometimes they come down here, so we're gonna make this quick. Oh, crying out loud. And as you can see, we have a guard here all of a sudden. Let me dispose of his body.
Maybe I should head back to my own neighborhood. Those fellas don't seem too friendly.
Collection of bodies. So this is what I meant earlier. If you knock out Lord Ramirez or get spotted by him, this will happen. So we have a new objective where we have to head for the safety of our neighborhood. So that's why this map is relevant. We're currently in Hightown, and we have to make our way all the way back to down here to home turf. So these streets can be kind of confusing to navigate because there's a lot of guards and other patrolmen around here. So on the way back, I honestly almost always get lost because I just rush through everybody. Normally you're supposed to take it slow and just sneak around, but I like the adrenaline rush. And besides, I have a couple of speed potions on me, so might as well use them, am I right? And also a lot of flash bombs. I don't think we've even had flash bombs up until this point. Flash bombs, essentially, when you throw them, they blind everyone in their vicinity, so you can use them to escape. Be careful though, because if you're looking at the flash bomb as it explodes, you're also gonna get blinded. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, basically. So let's use these tools to our disposal. But if you don't knock him out, or if you don't get spotted and you just pickpocket him, of course that means that it's gonna be a lot harder for you to actually get the rest of the loot in that room. But if you don't interfere with him in any way, then once you exit the mansion, the mission just ends straight up. But this extra objective is always fun to do, so... And besides, the more loot I get, the better. So now we not only have to backtrack our way, but we have to go all the way to our home turf. And as you can see, there's already some people looking out for us. So what my strategy here is, use both of the speed potions and use the jumping trick. Don't care if any of these guys spot you and start like chasing you, because as long as you have the speed potions, you're gonna be fine.
Hold it right there, Tapper.
As you can see, there's a lot of these guys and they're all on constant alert. They won't just forget about you, so you really have to outrun them. Thankfully, it's relatively easy to outrun them, especially if you know what you're doing.
Who made that noise?
Okay, and check your map frequently. We're currently somewhere around here. I think I have to go down this way.
You're dead.
Oh, that's what I mean. It's somewhat blinds you. I'm still over here. Really hope I'm going the right way. Crap, I'm going the wrong way, of course. That's gonna be embarrassing, because I'm just gonna end up getting lost again, aren't I?
And you're dead. Don't try it.
Now I'm over here. If I can somehow make it to... Oh, there we go, okay. Now we're on the right track. Yeah, this cart looks familiar. Oh, I think it's down here. Nope. Ah, crap. But yeah, it should be, yep. It's a straight line here. Great, excellent.
Hey, you over there.
I don't even recognize this area, honestly. Oh, actually, I think I do. Hold on. Aha! No? Might be thinking of a different area. Oh, there's a sewer here. Where does this lead me? I'm back here, really? Oh my god. It's a very maze-like level, to be sure. Honestly, much prefer the execution of... Oh, crying out loud. Ah! So annoying. But yeah, I much prefer the layout of the city in the second game.
Intruder!
Oh, great. It's gonna take me forever to find this stupid area again. Oh, now I'm back at Farkas. Great. Okay, I think I went this way, though. This way, and then this way, and then I think this way.
And you're dead. Don't try it.
Yeah, this looks familiar, and then this way, I think. Yep, okay.
Who'd I hear there?
Show yourself. What's going on over there? Hey, you!
Who goes there?
Yep, there we go.
Hey, who are you?
And instead of going down there, let's go... yeah, let's go down here.
Get the tapper! Come out, you! Hey, where'd you come from?
Fuck, I blinded myself. Oh crap, I went the wrong way because I blinded myself. Yeah, see, this is what I mean with flash bombs. I honestly don't like using them much. They are actually very useful for getting rid of zombies, though, because they do damage zombies. They basically act like grenades against zombies. But for actual human enemies, they're not that great. Okay, there we go. This looks familiar. Yep, here we are. Made it. Whew. Mission complete. All right, let me save. And there we have it. We trapped the thugs who tried to assassinate us without being detected. We showed Ramirez who the real criminal mastermind is. He's definitely gonna remember us now. By breaking into his mansion and taking what he values most, his wealth. The purse from his belt should have made a point. We looted the mansion for valuables by getting at least 2,000. We located his prized silver fire poker because it was worth quite a bit. We got out of the mansion, we headed for the safety of our neighborhood, and we did not kill anyone. Let's take a look at the stats. 31 minutes, 41 seconds. All the loot this time, very nice. Almost all the pickpockets. And I'm pretty sure I would have gotten all the pickpockets. Oh, actually, yeah, no, never mind. I completely forgot about that one guy in the room. Because it's kind of annoying because if you knock out an enemy and then pickpocket him, it doesn't count to the pickpocket count. It only counts if they're alive and walking around. But I guess he was still considered alive while he was doing his falling animation because I pickpocketed a guy after I had hit him over the head with a blackjack. But I guess it did count. 14 knockouts, 1 while airborne. Damage taken 2. Since killed nobody. Yep, there we go. Cool. So that's gonna be it for today's session. Tomorrow we're going to play through the 5th mission, which is actually gonna be the first Thief Gold exclusive mission. And also one of my least favorite missions. And one of the most hated missions in general in the community of this game. But that is for tomorrow. So until then, thank you all very much for watching and have a good one. Bye bye.